Good morning, and welcome to the Black Mesa Transit System. This automated train is provided for the security and convenience of the Black Mesa Research Facility personnel.
So, I don't want to be disrespectful when I say this, but sometimes Black Mesa still feels like a game from 2004. Play a little bit of Black Mesa and play the original Half-Life 2. You'll see what I mean. Lots of the physics are the same. Even lots of the physics between the 1998 Half-Life and Black Mesa are the same. You get those weird source engine ragdolls. I mean, sure, the game is a lot prettier than the original. It has some very explosive, I guess you could say, music, but at the same time, certain things about the game have always felt off to me, and that's what I hope to explore in this video. So, one of the first things you might notice between Half-Life and Black Mesa is that the jumping feels near identical. Black Mesa does have an option to make crouch jumping automatic, but other than that, the way you respond to the environment feels very similar. So I had a little bit of an initial odd experience with Half-Life 1. See, one thing I didn't know with some of these older games is that if you insert a music disc into your PC, it has the ability to swap out the game's music files for whatever's on the CD. So instead of my initial tram ride opening with eerie ambient music, I was instead met with Sublime's Up in Smoke CD. To replicate this, I have an Everlast Whitney Ford Sings the Blues CD.
Good morning, and welcome to the Black Mesa Transit System. This automated train is provided for the security and convenience of the Black Mesa Research Facility personnel. The time is 8:47 a.m. Current topside temperature is 93 degrees.
Good morning, Mr. Freeman. Looks like you're running late.
I apologize in advance to my audience, but in Source Engine games I cannot stop myself from compulsively hopping around like a bullfrog. And from this point on, if you're even somewhat familiar with Half-Life, you probably know what comes next, so for the sake of brevity, I'll cut forward.
Freeman, Gordon, good to see you. We just sent a sample down. You supposed to be in a move on. You'll just have to wait. You're supposed to be. You'll just have to wait until after the test is here. These you'll just have to wait to get a conclusive analysis of today's sample.
The administrator is very concerned if we get a conclusive analysis of today's sample. I gather he went to some lengths to get it.
We have complete confidence in you.
Well, go ahead. Let him in now.
And from this point on, Black Mesa feels tonally different than Half-Life to me. Sure, there's the same underlying concepts and themes. I mean, it is a recreation of the same game, but Black Mesa takes advantage of newer voice acting and graphics, and it's able to really portray the tragedy of the situation. Early game Half-Life, I more than not end up torturing the scientists for my amusement, but in Black Mesa, I actually feel a little bit of remorse when I send 4 people tumbling down to their deaths. Just a little, though.
Man, am I glad to see you. What the hell are these things? And why are they wearing science
I really enjoy the subtle ambience in Half-Life. Black Mesa's music is good, but it's a little bit more theatrical and less subtle than the music in Half-Life. I think the best immediate example of this is the headcrab elevator. Another interesting thing I noticed is this wasn't even the original track that was in Black Mesa. It used to be this. I don't know why they changed it, honestly. I kind of prefer the original. One thing I extremely dislike in both Black Mesa and Half-Life is the platforming that constantly feels like you're on ice. Maybe I'm just dog shit at it, but it always feels like I'm trying to skate on smooth surfaces, and I just end up tumbling to my death. The tripwires are the worst goddamn example of this. I fucking hate the tripwires. If there was a version of the game without tripwires, I would play the version without tripwires. Fuck the goddamn tripwires. Speaking of goddamn tripwires.
God's sake, open the silo door! They're coming for us! It's our only way out! Oh my God, we're doomed!
So this is where Black Mesa totally loses me, honestly. Did you see in that Half-Life clip how the Marines were actively running away from me while I chased them down with a big shotgun? I've had no such experience in Black Mesa. These fucking Marines are relentless. I mean, they were hit-scan enemies and kinda cheap before, but my god, in Black Mesa, the level design has changed just enough so that they can see you at every single angle. What makes this part of We've Got Hostiles even worse is the odd level design changes. They make the arenas a little bit bigger, which I think contributes to the issue where enemies will just hit scan you from every single direction, but also it's more confusing now. In Half-Life, you can just run straight through the area to the last bunker and you're good to go. But In Black Mesa, for some reason, they put a false door on the final bunker, and I didn't even notice this, so I died my first go around. Do you remember when I said that Black Mesa is very pretty, but in terms of the mechanics, it feels like it came out in 2004? Well, the Marines are the worst example of this. Hit scan enemies that you can't get away from. Now, I can't confirm that this is true, but Black Mesa started off as a mod for Half-Life 2. My guess is that the enemy soldiers in this game either used the same Combine AI from Half-Life 2 or they used a modified version of it. As much as I love the Combine in Half-Life 2, they were never very intelligent, to be honest. I thought that was interesting, but anyways, time to move on to Blast Pit, a chapter that I hate and that I love. Every time I play it, I get a little bit lost or confused and I end up having to backtrack, especially since it's different in both Black Mesa and Half-Life slightly. But it is super memorable, and honestly, this is one of the instances I think Black Mesa truly outshines Half-Life. Dude, can you please speak up? I can't hear you over the giant sentient tentacles. Why'd you say stop? And here we are at Blast Pit, where there's a giant tentacle creature trying to kill you. And so you've got to use explosives to distract it while you run to turn on the power and electricity connected to the missile silo the plant monster is growing in. For some reason, the environment was destructible in the original game in terms of these little bridges. In Black Mesa, they're not, but when you come back, one of them is destroyed. That kind of gave me the impression that this plant creature that is constantly growing is actively breaking apart the silo, so if I don't destroy it, this whole place is going to get overrun by one giant tentacle monster. The only segment here that really pissed me off in Black Mesa is this giant fan you have to crawl under and activate. I'm pretty sure in Half-Life 1 you could turn the fan on and off at any point, and then even if you jump to the side, the suction would pull you up into the air safely. Whereas in this game, it autosaves as soon as you hit the switch, and if you don't run to the ladder quick enough, you're fucked. Time to load a save. Isn't that fun? Seriously, why just make the switch turn off? A quick aside, one cool detail that's missing from the headcrab zombies in Black Mesa is that in Half-Life you can actually see a human skull through the headcrab. Pretty freaky. One thing that Black Mesa definitely has over Half-Life is I didn't get stuck and spontaneously combust on a random item as much, so that's cool.
Why are you leaving me here? All right. Have I been that much of a burden? With my brains and your brawn, we'll make an excellent team. You're going to have to leave me here, Gordon.
Moments like these are what I really think make Black Mesa shine. And then, to progress the level, you jump into a giant hole that you'd think you'd die from, but there's water at the bottom, and you pick up the revolver. And let me tell you, this revolver is good. I really like this revolver. In Black Mesa, for some reason, they put some weird iron sights in the gun, and... I mean, just look at this shit. Jank as fuck. These random insta-death segments are gonna be a fucking headache. And now we're at the level power-up, and my god, I had a rough time with this one in Black Mesa. They slightly changed the level design, so I got really lost and just disintegrated a couple times. It didn't help that my brightness was down really low, but to be fair, when I went into the settings, for some reason, the brightness works in reverse, so I couldn't see most of this playthrough till now. God fucking damn it! I think it's finally over. No!
So when you find the rocket, well, if you find the rocket, you'll have to get up to the control room and launch it yourself.
This chapter's called On a Rail, but I like to call it Instant Death. There is some cool stuff scattered about here, like Marines and aliens starting to battle each other, and you really get to see the devastation it causes, but all around it was shorter and therefore more enjoyable in Black Mesa. Just don't make me play On a Rail again, please.
Science team? You think he was responsible? Sabotage, maybe? Maybe. All I know for sure is he's been killing my buddies. Oh yeah, he'll pay. He will definitely pay.
I guess this is the part of the game where your arsenal starts to grow, and I actually started enjoying myself in Half-Life and Black Mesa around this point. It's because you have a revolver that can one-shot enemies to the head, and a grenade launcher that can easily take out large swarms of enemies grouped together. And in Black Mesa, this segment is just perfect. There's enough resources laying around, so you don't have to worry about that. It's chaotic, and there's hellfire everywhere, and it feels like you're going up against an unsurmountable force, but you're strong enough just to blast the motherfuckers and walk on through, and it really made me feel like a fucking Grim Reaper, so... fantastic job, Black Mesa. So not really much happens here. You fight a fish monster, you get a crossbow that can shoot underwater. Wait, did I kill that guy teleporting in? Wait, did that guy teleport again kill me? Anyways, then you get captured by the dumbest soldiers on the planet who, instead of shooting you in the back of the head, just throw you inside this giant compactor, which in Black Mesa shouldn't even feasibly be able to kill me. I mean, what the fuck? Yeah, and then you're just left to do horrible platforming without your weapons. I fucking hate residue processing. In fact, I think I hate it so much and it's had such a mental strain on me that this is it in the video. This is the whole segment. Residue processing is fucking garbage. It's annoying. In both games. I never want to play it again. Please, never force anyone else to play it. And for the next chapter, we get to play Questionable Ethics, which is just fantastic.
Hey, buddy.
I mean, you get the fucking Tau Cannon and Snarks in the same level.
What is this thing? Some kind of weapon?
Put that down. It's a prototype.
Man, why aren't we using it?
It's much too unpredictable. Don't let it overcharge.
What do you mean, over?
Questionable Ethics is great, not just because of the gameplay, which, while fun, is just a bunch of linear shooting corridors with cool weapons. It's more so about the implications this chapter has on the story. Maybe your employers knew a little more than they were leading on. Unfortunately, in OG Half-Life, when I encountered the Marines in this level, I had nothing. Absolutely nothing. No pistol ammo, no revolver ammo. Just absolutely nothing. Something about these highly textured and detailed Marines flopping about with absolutely zero intelligence, struggling to fight a fucking bull squid is just absolutely hilarious to me for some reason. I guess it just stands out of place because, I mean, all of Half-Life looks dated at this point. It came out in 1998, so the Marines acting goofy kind of fits in with the game world, whereas in Black Mesa it just kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. The level's pretty short and sweet and not really that frustrating, and you get to have an epic shootout in the end in Black Mesa.
Wait, what is it? Anyone else think this is a bit too easy? Something's not right. Gordon, you don't mind taking a look, do you? We'll stay here for a moment.
Honestly, I really expected to hate Black Mesa more than I actually did, probably because I played an earlier version of it before they added the Zen chapters. But just like in Half-Life, whenever there's a good chapter, there's usually a bad one following it, and that stays true in Black Mesa. In Black Mesa, during surface tension, what you'll probably notice is that not only are the Marines annoying hit-scan enemies, but now so are the tanks and helicopters. At least when you jump down from the bridge in Black Mesa, it doesn't make you drown yourself turning that valve underwater. After you jump off the dam and survive being blown up by the helicopter, you navigate a minefield avoiding head crabs, and then you're led out onto a cliff where you must combat an enemy helicopter with your newly found rocket launcher. And oh boy, this segment was fucking annoying in Black Mesa. Like, I really hope I'm not just terrible at the game, but this feels needlessly difficult compared to how it was in Half-Life. In Half-Life, when I fought the chopper, it felt like a moment of victory that I finally had a good enough arsenal to easily dispose of them, where in Black Mesa it felt like a mildly aggravating boss battle. So right after you take out the hit-scan helicopter, you gotta take out the hit-scan tank, and then once you take out the hit-scan tank, you take out the other hit-scan military vehicle. This chapter is long in Half-Life, but in Black Mesa it's long and it drags on. Then in both games, we have to head towards the booby-trapped warehouse. In both games, it's surrounded by snipers, and in both games, they're really obnoxious, and you have to throw grenades, which sometimes magically don't kill them, into their nests.
Ammunition depleted.
One fun thing about Black Mesa is that it's in the Source engine, which means you get to pick up props and throw them. So you have some creative ways to clear minefields. The new weapon pickup animations in Black Mesa are pretty cool, but the Source engine collision noises aren't. One thing I noticed at this point is the auto crouch feature. See, it doesn't really work all that well in my opinion. If you're standing stationary and you jump, it won't perform the crouch jump, but if you crouch jump manually, you'll probably make it to the top of said object. But if you have a little bit of momentum in space and you perform a regular jump, it'll perform the crouch jump for you. It's kind of useless and I didn't even notice it until now. So, for Forget About Freeman, we get to witness the full-on war between the Marines and the aliens, including air vehicles on both sides striking each other. And we have to fight the big-ass monster from Power Up again. In both games it was annoying, but honestly in Half-Life, the map that you have to airstrike them with is so pixelated that it took me like half a dozen tries because I couldn't make out what the fuck this is. And then you just keep moving underground till you get to the Lambda core. Then it's basically the same gimmick as Blast Pit, where you have to run around and turn on different things. That's followed by an abhorrent jumping puzzle once again, with rotating platforms this time, and portals. Then, after you deal with all those shenanigans, you get to go to Zen.
Hey, you must go, now!
level is 100%.
I was excited for this in Black Mesa, mainly because I had played through the game previously before they had actually finished Zen. So I'm interested to see what they actually did. Black Mesa seems to have entirely redone Zen, and there's a few interesting story components I like immediately how there's a bunch of scaffolding and human technology everywhere, implying that your employers were lying, and not only that, people had been sent to Zen to explore before. Whereas in Half-Life, the first thing you stumble across is a person dead in an HEV suit, which I think is impactful, but for a different reason. Mainly because you know now that your suit won't save you, only your wits. But then past this point, it gets hard to kind of compare the games as a recreation because Black Mesa's Crowbar Collective obviously had their own vision in mind. And these are very different games for this segment. Half-Life Zen is pretty simple if you know what you're doing, but it can easily become a confusing slog for those unfamiliar. There isn't as much as you would think to talk about here. The environment is kind of cool, but by this point in the game, you will be ready to just run right through and get it over with. At least the Ninth is cool, and the G-Man ending is satisfying enough. It doesn't help, though, that the Nailth is an annoying bastard that will endlessly lob these portals at you, and when you're hit by one, you're teleported to the bottom of an awful parkour sequence that takes forever. That's why it's way more efficient to just have quick saves ready. Black Mesa's Zen is visually spectacular. They have added all sorts of new enemies and fauna, but my question is, why didn't they get teleported into the research facility like all the other life on Zen? Lots of the gameplay is platforming with the double jump, shooting, and Half-Life 2-esque puzzles repeated. Initially this worked on me and it was interesting all the way up to after the Gonarch battle, which in Half-Life was an often buggy mess where you sometimes are forced to bait the Gonarch towards you because his AI got hung up. Now it's a lengthy chase followed by an epic battle. It all falls apart at Interloper though. I remember Civvy11 did a Half-Life video where he talks about how much he hates Interloper, but I don't know if he's played Black Mesa's Interloper. It never ends. The first half of Interloper is actually pretty cool in Black Mesa. It takes a different approach, giving you the ability to free the Vortigons oppressed and enslaved by the controllers, the annoying floating bastards. But it dragged on for nearly 3 fucking hours, and most of it is just puzzles and instant death falls, leading up to the longest elevator battle in history. It's a boring slog and I'll probably never replay it in full. The Nailth battle was greatly improved and was visually impressive, but a little bit confusing. And that's the end for both games. Honestly, I was impressed by Black Mesa in many segments. Zen's platforming was actually fun, and it felt like Doom without the mantling, though. But for everything Black Mesa does better, it does something worse. In short, it looks like a new game, but it honestly plays like an antiquated shooter. The majority of the time, I think the narrative and new story elements more than make up for it, though. If they cut out most of Interloper and fixed up the Marine AI, I would probably fall in love with the game. We can only hope for a big update to fix up a little of these issues. It was pretty decent and actually was a better time than I remember playing it, when Zen wasn't even included.
Time to choose. It's time to choose. Well, it looks like we won't be working together. No regrets, Mr. Freeman.